ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Mundaka Upanishad. And we have introduced ourselves to the subject in our last discourse. We are now going to go ahead. The main theme is a very well-established, enlightened person of that time community adjacent to a forest and a habitation. His name is Shaunaka. Mahashala is the adjective used against his name. Mahashala Shaunaka. Mahashala means a man of great achievement, great enlightenment, greatly accomplished. In short, a successful person from all points of view. That is the essence of it. Why so? The purpose is, psychologically speaking, if you do not go through an experience, you would not know whether it is good or bad. Your wisdom generates from the experience which you go through by following up certain motivation or initiative, and when you experience it, after that you sit and decide, what is this experience? Where does it fit in with my goal of life? So, the word Mahashala means he is a man of the world. He has achieved what the world can offer. Having achieved which, going through the experiences of flow of life, he thinks, is there anything knowing which I am absolutely satiated, satisfied, and there would be no restless in my mind to know this or that anymore? That is what it is. That means this gentleman, Shaunaka, had gone through all these achievements and experiences of life, and then he wants to know what is behind all this. Is there anything knowing and experiencing which he used the word vigyate, not gyate, not only intellectual or rational knowing, but knowing by experiencing. Is there, my Lord, anything in this world, if I experience that, my restless new search for knowledge will be totally appeased and satiated, and I will be at peace with myself? That was the question that it came to his mind, and he goes to Rishi Angirasha and he asks him this question. This is a starting point of the Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Now, he could have said, this is what you could learn, and that will be the end of it. The Mundaka would have ended there, 4 slokas. But the purpose of the Mundaka is to teach all of us till endless posterity, as long as 2 people walk on this earth, to help them to find their soul. The Upanishad is meant as a mother, affectionate mother, to provide succor, sustenance, wisdom to her children. Matri Sama Upanishad. Upanishad is equated with, compared with an affectionate mother. But here, the Upanishad wants to develop the idea in such a manner that slowly and slowly, step by step, he raises our level of awareness to such an extent that we end up by knowing our true original nature. So now let us see in answer to this question what Angirasha had to say. He says, look, my dear, Tasmai sa uvacha. Let me read the sutra first. To him, Tasmai sa ha uvacha. To him, he spoke thus. The answer is forthcoming. To him, he spoke thus. Tasmai sa hovacha. Dve vidye veditabhye. There are 2 branches of learning and experiencing. He asked one question, is there anything knowing which all else remains known, becomes known? Whereas he is answering, there are 2 branches of knowing and experiencing. Dve vidye veditabhye. De vidye veditabhya. 2 vidyas, process of learning, veditabhya, must be learned, no option. Veditabhya means it must be learned, you don't have a choice. What are those 2 branches of knowing? Paracha, parachaiva, aparacha. Paracha eva, aparacha. 2 branches of learning must be learned. Now, why didn't he answer in one question, Paravidya is to be learned? Why did he bring in Aparavidya here? As I have told you earlier, until and unless you live in this world, go through the world's experience, rightly or wrongly, and having gone through it, you know what is what in the world. And there is no introspective person who does not realize, living in this world, that nothing is everlasting in this world. It happens not to be there. It comes in point of time. It exists. It is there. And then it disappears in point of time. any introspective person living in this world will see nothing is permanent, nothing is everlasting. Nothing is real. These have definitions. Everlasting, permanent, reality. They have their definitions. I'll come to that later on. An introspective person knows that. Until you know that, until and unless you develop that desire to know the eternal, the reality, that knowledge, even if it is served on a platter to you, you will not be interested. To create that interest towards that reality, you go through the appearance which appears to be real and see for yourself, I am tired of this unending farce, this dream, so please no more. You'll develop this alam buddhi. Alam buddhi is, in English language, enough is enough. I've had enough of it. Is there anything else? Holding on to which I am in eternal peace, joy, happiness, tranquility. Is there anything? Until and unless you develop that alam pratyaya, enough is enough, you will not be motivated to see something else. That is why apara vidya has to be known only for the purpose to know it is unreal. That is why he introduces, you have to know what is apara vidya, what is apara vidya vishaya, what is paravidya, and what is paravidya vishaya. I'll explain to you in English. Apara means not so sublime. A means not. Para is sublime. Vidya, which is qualified by the word apara, a process of learning which gives you an exposure to all branches of tertiary knowledge. All branches that are being developed, has been developed, in the process of being developed now, will continue this process to demystify the mysteries of this external nature. The whole gamut of that learning falls under the category of apara vidya. That is, I am exposed to various learning and I master each and every branch of learning appertinent to, related to this cosmos, this nature, external. I try by my education to demystify the mysteries of nature. That is known as apara vidya. Apara vidya means that which is not so sublime, but you cannot dispense it. It is indispensable. Why? That becomes a stepping stone to paravidya. As you graduate yourself from high school, then you graduate yourself from university, then you graduate into a higher section of research work. You go by graduation. Here also, the teacher is saying there are two branches of knowing. One related to, appertinent to this world, this cosmos. And I cannot count on my fingertips how many infinite branches of knowledge is developing, will continue to develop related to the external nature. Matter, energy, and infinite permutation, combination of those. That is apara vidya. And then he says, other is paravidya, sublime knowledge, knowing which all your questions, experiencing which all your questions and initiative to know will come to a stop. You have achieved what you had to achieve. This is the translation of the shloka. Tasmai saha uvacha. To him he said thus or hereafter. Dve vidye veditabhya. Tabhye. That is, de vidye veditabhya. I'm sorry. De vidye veditabhya. Two branches of knowledge must be known. No compromise. What are the two branches of knowledge, dear? One is not so sublime knowledge, and the other is sublime knowledge. Iti hasma yat brahmavido vadanti. This is the traditional wisdom which has come from the realized souls who have achieved that stage. What stage? Having experienced which, nothing remains to experience. I've experienced everything. This is how the teacher explains. What is apara and para? I would like, not from you, I would like to hear from the teacher Maharishi Angira, who is the teacher of this Upanishad. So let us see what he has to say. How does he define paravidya and aparavidya? Tatra apara. Under this context, tatra, this is a context of discussion, I am now, the teacher says, explaining to you what is aparavidya. Rik Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. These are the four Vedas. Vedas are storage of experiences of various saints and seers and realized souls. They have passed on their experience in words to the next generation, and it has come by generation to generation through memory till such time we learn to write and keep it down on birch bark, Bhurja Patra. So, Rik Veda, Yajur Veda, Shama Veda, Atharva Veda, Chatur Veda, they are all written words or memorized words. So they are, on the face of it, nothing else but collection of an infinite number of words, Shabda Rashi, heaps and heaps and heaps of words. They are knitted together grammatically. The words becomes into syllables, become sentences, and they have a word-to-word meaning, a sentence-to-sentence meaning, and the intended meaning of the author. Shabda, word, artha. Shabda, artha. Bhakya, when the words are knitted into a sentence, predicative and a subjective, and then they are knitted properly grammatically, it gives a total meaning. Vakya and its artha. And third meaning is what the author intends to convey to you. That is the lakshya artha. Here he says that I will tell you what is aparavidya, what is the gamut, what is the area, the province, how much does it extend? It extends to demystify the mysteries of external nature in a modern concept. In that time concept, dear, it was classified. How was it classified? The 4 Vedic literature and a basket full of Shabdarashi which emanated certain ideas. Along with it, there were 6 subjects which were required to be studied to understand the Vedic literature. They were known as Veda Angas, part and parcel of the Vedas, ancillaries without studying which you will not be able to decipher the meaning of the Vedas. What are those? Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chanda, Jyotisham, Iti. 6 of them. What is Shiksha? Let us understand what these branches, ancillaries of knowledge, which we need to understand the Vedic literature and decipher correctly the words of the Vedic literature. We need 6 different subjects. What are those subjects? Shiksha, Varna Ucharana Vishayak Grantha. And so simple. What is it? Please, excuse me, repeating these Sanskrit words. But I cannot but do so because I must justify the authenticity of the ideas that I am explaining to you. The authenticity lives in this text. Varna Ucharana Vishayaka Grantha. A correct pronunciation. That is Shiksha. A subject which teaches you how to pronounce, how to utter the words correctly. I've told you many times passing, but here is an occasion when I'll highlight that to you. Now you are listening to me. I, in a very garbled, improper manner, use the word what? I know what I have said, but I have said it in an improper manner, a wrong pronunciation, garbled. What? You hear the sound, but you can't make head and tail of it. What is Swamiji speaking? I don't understand. Why doesn't he become very clear and very precise in pronouncing? Why does he use garbled words? So Swamiji listens to you and he says, water, perfectly, correctly, thoroughly. Immediately, within a fraction of a moment, you nod your head and say, yes, Swami, I have understood. There is no water to be seen here. But through the domain of idea, you nod and say, I understand. Therefore, the word has to be pronounced in a very correct, thorough, specific manner as far as the convention and grammar of that language is concerned. This is the subject. You should learn to decipher correctly the meaning of each and every word of the Vedas. This subject, ancillary subject or correlated subject, is known as Shiksha. Kalpa. Now, this is in the domain of ideas. Shiksha is a domain of correct pronunciation so that you have correct understanding. Now, life is full of activities. In the Vedas, there are thousands and thousands of different types of ritualistic duties that you have to perform. If you do not perform it sequentially, in a sequential manner, this is first, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, it goes on. If you are not doing it correctly in a sequential manner, it will not yield a result. As if you don't correctly use a word, pronounce a word, it will not be productive. If you don't do your Agnihotra Jaga, Chatushtoma Jaga, the Homam, if you don't do it in a correct sequence, it will not create the Adrishta Phala. That effect of your act, cause and its effect, which will lead you to eternal life in heaven. Kalpa is that subject which teaches you the procedure of action. When you perform the rituals enjoined by the Vedas, you have to perform it in a sequential manner, not in an erratic slipshod manner. It will give you no result. The subject has to be studied well. That is kalpa. So you see now why they are Veda Angas. Veda Angas. You have to learn these ancillaries first, then only you will be able to decipher the wisdom of the Vedas through the domain of ideas. Do this, thereafter do this, thereafter do this, thereafter do this. Shiksha kalpa. Vyakaranam, that is the grammar. If you are grammatically incorrect, you will not understand anything. Therefore, grammar is the third ancillary, helpful subject which you have to study first to read the language and understand the meaning. Nirukta. Vaidik Shabdanam Artha Prakashanam. That's beautiful. There are two types of word that in the present day society we find. What is it? If you read the Vedas, you will find some words which are absolutely Greek to you. You will understand nothing of it. That has its utility at that period of time. And that understanding affects the flow of life. So my life has to flow, and has to flow according to the injunctions of the Vedas. And if I do not understand what those Vedic languages, which is beyond Panini's grammar, Laukika grammar, the worldly grammar of today, then where do I stand? So, Nirukta here means those typical words available in Vedas which are no more in vogue, there is a dictionary, a thesaurus, where the meaning of those Vedic words are given to you through Panini's Vyakarana. It is being a bit pedantic, dear, but it is better we once for all understand, because we have to get the best advantage of the study of the Gita and study of the Mundaka Upanishad, and the best advantage is acquired when we know the meaning of each and every word. Here in this shloka, iti hasma ja brahmavido vadanti. Iti ha sma. Ha and sma. It's not a common language, it's a Vedic language. What does it mean? The tradition speaks thus. You have understood the meaning of hasma. Iti hasma. It is, according to tradition, means thus. So this is nirukta. Shiksha, kalpa, vyakaranam, nirukta. Chanda is a poem. It has a cadence. There are several types of rhymes and rhythms. Sonnets and this and this and this. The last alphabet or the last word should be similar to the second line of the last word of the second line, and we have a rhyme, a rhythm, a cadence, because it is written in poetry and in music. Samaveda is nothing but music. All these ideas have been converted into musical language. Therefore, you must learn that. Chanda Jyotisham is astrology. How does astrology come into picture? I'll tell you how, from a modern concept, and there is robust common sense in it. We say that at that time, according to astrological sciences, the sun and the moon and other 7, the 9 of them, they conjointly, having a force of gravitation, force of pull and push, whatever you may say. They are exerting certain astrological forces on the earth. And these forces are good for me, these forces are bad for me, and during this period, when this force is active, success is sure. That is, least obstacles. Now, the Vedas say 45 minutes before dawn is the Brahma Muhurta, best time in the universe. All the planetary conjunctions are helpful. Please perform this act. If you do not have a smattering knowledge of astrology, when will you know what is Brahma Muhurta? According to modern concept, it is 45 minutes before the sun rises. So according to calculation, you must know what is the time of sunrise. You can't depend on nature. It is cloudy, it is dark, it is this, it is that. You must know. So astrological calculations tell you when is the sun rising, when is Brahma Muhurta, when is Shubha Muhurta, and when it is Trahasparsha, the worst period. And that has been proved by astrological sciences. So, a smattering knowledge of astrology is necessary to decipher the ideas contained in Vedic Shabda Rashi, in the Vedic heaps of words. That is why these 6 branches, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakara, Nirukta, Chanda, Jyotishamiti, are supposed to be Vedangas. So, the ideas in Vedas, especially the Karma Kanda, and how to perform these ritualistic activities to give you to enjoy eternal life in paradise, has to be properly understood. All this gamut of knowledge is aparavidya, not so sublime. Why? It is pertinent, but it is relevant to the world and our flow of worldly life. This is the orthodox way of understanding. What is the modern commonsensical way of understanding? I will put it in a commonsensical manner. Each and every branch of learning that human society has developed since the dawn of civilization is in the process of developing now and will continue to develop and inquire till 2 people walk on this earth. Why and how of the nature. All that gamut of learning is aparavidya, not so sublime because it is appurtenant to the external forces of nature and the nature itself. Aparavidya. That is, all the wisdom, all the learnings, all the research-oriented education that is happening in this world is related to the cosmos. I am the knower, I am the researcher, and this is what I achieve. What about who am I? I am doing all this. But who am I? What am I? That is the fulcrum, holding on to which all this education is spreading. But who am I? That is not encompassed in this language learning. Therefore, it is not sublime. What is sublime? Yaya yat vidyaya. By that vidya, tat aksharam adhigamyate. That absolute, immutable is experienced. Because it is absolute, because it is immutable, therefore my sense organs will not work. So, I can't find out who am I, but I can't define my existence, deny my existence. I am. And as of now, I know I am this body-mind complex. I am the knower. I am the doer. I am the fulcrum of all that. But I do not know who am I. It has never cropped in me. I am happy with this external search. So paravidya is to experience the inner nature of the human being, which leads to awareness through experiencing, the perennial question being answered. Who am I? What am I? I am that absolute. That is why it is a sublime knowledge. I am the master of all I survey. There's nothing comparable to me. So I am grasping all that I can. But it is infinite, endless. You can't grasp your shadow. You can't get rid of your shadow. But you are not the shadow, you are concrete, tangible. Who am I? That vidya, that learning which exposes you to understand the inner nature which makes me aware, who am I, what am I? That is the sublime knowledge, knowing which everything is known. All the external, all the internal, the ultimate reality, the ultimate excellence, immutable. Jaya, by means of which tat aksharam adhigamyate. By means of which that immutable aksharam, that eternal, infinite, immutable, changeless, can be experienced or literally can be reached. Adhipurvak gamadhatu. Adhipurvak gamadhatu means being and becoming. The evolutionary process of this human, this amness of the human, which is not determined what it is in reality, slowly and slowly, by the study of the ideas of the Upanishad, which is conveyed by Shabdarashi words. Shabdarashi, Bhavarashi, Jnana, Vijnana. The words, their meaning, the knowledge, the motivation, acquisition of that knowledge, assimilation, absorption, saturation. Adhigamyate, a gradual process of reaching and being and becoming. Adhipurvak gamadhatu praptyarthat. Please kindly pardon me. Adhi is the prefix. Gam dhatu means motion. Adhigamyate means the motion is such. Ultimately you merge with the object. The process of being and becoming. Praptyarthat. Jaya tadadhraman avigamyate avinnatam prapyate. What is avinnatam? The separateness totally disappears. Inseparable. This concept dawns. Me and my Father are one. I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Me and my Father are one. Not physically, not materially, idealistically, from the domain of idea. I am, He is. I slowly and slowly progress towards He, and ultimately I reach and I merge. That is the process of spiritual evolution of a human to the divine. So dears, Paravidya is that Vidya by means of which you slowly and steadily, gradually and properly, you reach that stage where the concept of separateness with the absolute totally disappears and your egocentric existence merges with the divine, the absolute. That is the object or goal of Paravidya. That is how he explains to you. Aparavidya and Paravidya. What is the relationship? You can't leapfrog the one. And now, dear, a little diversion, but that will give you a clarity of understanding. In our ashram system of India, Chaturashrama, 4 stages of life: Brahmacharya, Garhastha, Banaprastha, Sannyas. A human life has been divided. How the life is to be lived. 4 stages. Brahmacharya, say up to 16 or 20, whatever it is. You are supposed to be very disciplined, very diligent, very self-controlled, and you acquire as much knowledge as you possibly can, with a total control on your senses. Brahmacharya. Not only physical control of physical propensities, but total. In totality, you must be in control of yourself. And that continues for, say, 20 years. Generally, 16 was the landmark. Doesn't matter. 20 years. Then comes Garhastha. What is Garhastha? A householder's life. Yes, I am now in my full adulthood. I am on my own legs. I can earn, I can live, I can this and this and this, whatever it may be. And from that to 50, I am involved in worldly life, not divorced from the purpose of life. That is Paravidya. I am involved in Aparavidyas of life. And then, when my children have come to such an age, it is time to set myself away. Go behind the scenes. Let them manage the show. I have managed it from 20 to 50, 30 years. It is now time to make room for my growing children. So what do? I've been so active, I can't live in vacuum. Yes, why should you be in vacuum? You go, leave the household. You and your wife, you go away. Have a small little cottage in a very salubrious climate, very nice place, and spend your life in upasana and swadhyaya, in studies and in prayers. What is that prayer? That which you used to perform with 108 different ingredients, you do it mentally. That is, your active life is being moved into an active life internally. You are equally active, but you don't need to have a penny, you don't need to have all these formalities. You can do it in your mind. Here is my God, He sits here and I am worshipping. All mental, in imagination. Upasana. Prayerful. And through this prayer, becoming close to God and close to God, a time will come when Paravairagya will be achieved. I would now leave everything behind. Whatever that I am attached to, sannyasa, samyak nyasa, sannyasa. Swaha, 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 swaha. I am burning myself up in fire. Nothing is left. What is left? Jyotiraham swaha. Viraja, vipapma, jyotiraham swaha. This much is left. I am virajaha, taintless, vipapma, scentless, jyotiraham. I am nothing but true effulgence, knowledge, and I remain that, and I burn away myself everything. That is sannyas for you. And it has to be gradually achieved. This Mundaka Upanishad, in its 3 chapters and 6 sections, will take you from brahmacharya to garastha, garastha to brahmaprastha, brahmaprastha to sannyas, and then kaivalya mukti. The last goal, to be one with your Maker. In 65 shlokas, of which we have covered 5. So dears, let us stop here, because from the next shloka, he will try to explain to you in a very, very, very suggestive manner how by using such words we can have a very vague concept of what is that akshara, that absolute, that immutable. From the path of negativism and from the path of positivism. The 6th shloka is that. Jattadadreshamagrajamagotram avarnam achakshushrotram tadapani padam nittam vibhom sarvagatam shushukshmam yadbhuta jonim paripashyanti dhira tadabhyayam yadbhuta jonim paripashyanti dhira. He's trying to use those selected words according to Shiksha, according to Vyakaranam, according to Chanda, a poetry. Taking help of this, he's trying to explain to you what is that immutable, infinite, eternal, absolute is, so that you have a vague and nebulous idea as far as your thought and idea can reach. To give you an idea of what is that absolute, this is how the teachings of the Upanishad starts. So let us revise what we have studied today. Shaunaka, an enlightened person, a successful person, who has seen and lived in this world thoroughly, correctly, properly, he wants to know, is there anything knowing which this restless search for happiness or eternity comes to an end? That is a necessary precondition. You can't leapfrog that and start straight away without this experience behind, whether in this life or in previous lives. So he asks him the question, is there anything? The teacher says, let me not give him a one-sentence reply. Then I'll not be doing my service to the society. He makes Shaunaka an emblem and teaches the society in next 61 shlokas, 60 shlokas. That is, there are 2 branches of knowing, apara and para. We have explained ourselves what is apara, what is para, and he explains. Apara is Veda Shavdarashi, and 6 Vedangas. All permutation, combination regarding the external nature. And what is para? By means of which you will be able to experience the eternal, infinite, immutable Absolute. Thereby mentioning, go through the process of learning. Don't try to leapfrog, try to be in a hurry. Proceed slowly and slowly. And he will start from the next year, chapter, section, yeah. How you start with Karma Kanda. Then you migrate to Upasana. Then you migrate to Sannyasa. And lastly, what happens to you? The whole gamut of this life is considered. Thank you, my dear friends. We start from the 6th shloka next time in the next session. Thank you, dears. Thank you.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.